Morning.
So I don't know if I'm gonna finish the project on time because I'm not gonna be here tomorrow because I have an AP test.
Now 8:10 they're starting. Okay. So we're going to be starting the design today. So get as far as you can on that design, and then just wrap it up really, really well for the weekend since you won't be here. And then on Monday, you'll do the foot. That's what I'll demo tomorrow. So I'll catch you up on that on Monday. And then it's just some cleanup, and that's kind of it. So it is a quicker project. And I think that for everybody, I'm going to have the due date be Monday. So I think actually you'll be okay. You'll just have to maybe come in a little early Monday to get started. Cool. Thanks for letting me know. Hey, Kip, was someone able to come and get that box yesterday? I don't know if you can hear me.
My mom's gonna come today
Oh.
and get it. She had her nail appointment yesterday.
Sorry, say that again.
Oh, I said my mom had her nail appointment yesterday, so she couldn't pick it up, but she's coming today.
Okay. All right. Cool. Oh, hon, you sound rough. You okay?
I woke up like 5 minutes ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it's not like, all right, good.
yeah, no, I'm okay.
All right, good. All right. We're going to start with a demo today. No notes, just a demo. What you can do while you're waiting is pull out your plate that you made yesterday and kind of check what stage it's in. If it's really sticky and kind of plasticky, let it be uncovered while I'm doing the demo. If it's really dry, like leather hard, not sticky, keep it back while I'm doing the demo.
It sounds like common sense advice.
Is it J3? I guess it is J3.
Some people aren't going to wait. There are folks who are going to book their travel. Is there some safety for unvaccinated?
One of the things I'd like you to do also is a little cut up bits of towel and the towel is clean. On your table, please take one, and you might use it today. But if you don't end up using it, keep it in your locker. You will end up using it tomorrow. I want everybody to just have their own little scrap of towel that you can keep in your locker.
It's a lot more contagious and appears, lower early, and it appears to be much more serious disease as well. So I look at it like walking through a minefield. But there's bigger lines out there, but they're out there for them. I'm talking to Dr. Jill Foster.
Good morning. Put down any chairs that are up on the tables near you.
Recommendations to be as possible. Folks are going to get on here.
All right. Good morning. Happy Wednesday, I guess it is. Today, we're going to talk about adding a decoration to your plate that you made yesterday. For those of you who were on the wheel yesterday, you're going to get another opportunity to throw on the wheel and perhaps make your plates today. And people who are at home, you're going to be watching along. And people at home, please stay around for the end. It's really important information I need to share with you at the end of the demo today. Okay, so I'd asked the people who were here earlier to check your plates now, especially if you're doing the mold type of plate, to see what stage it's in. And if it's really soft and sticky yet, take it out, uncover it, set it aside so you're not messing with it while I'm talking. But to just let it get some air because we kind of want it to be in that leather hard stage today. So people at home, when you pull out your plates eventually, check them, see which stage they're in. And before you move on and do our steps today, you want it to be leather hard. So your steps for today are to make some handmade tools, and I'll be showing this in the demo. You're going to make those handmade tools by cutting up a popsicle stick. So pretty basic tool there. You're going to use the scissors to cut different tips on the popsicle sticks. Again, I'll demonstrate that. And then after you cut those different ends, you're going to sand them. So there's no rough, raggedy, sharp edges there. Then once you have your designs in place, I'm going to talk about lots of different ways that you can do this decoration. But once you have your stamps made, I'm going to ask you to sketch out 3 different potential ways that you could lay out your design. I'm not asking you to like draw super specifically, this mark will be here and this mark will be here. What I want you to just do is kind of get a layout for how the design might look across the surface of your particular plate. So if your plate is a hexagon, you're going to make your sketches based on a hexagon. If you're doing it on the wheel, your sketches will be based on that circle shape. If you've got a weird fish-shaped plate, your designs are going to be based on that fish-shaped plate. So your sketches really are going to be very personalized to whatever shaped plate that you are wanting to do. And then once your design is kind of laid out and you've got a game plan for how you want it to look, you can kind of make some choices about how you use those popsicle stick tools that you've created. So I'm going to come back to this and talk more about that in the demo. First, though, I want to just remind you of a few things when you're considering your design. Is the design going to be symmetrical? Is that really pleasing to you when everything is similar throughout the entire thing? Or the left is equal to the right and the top is equal to the bottom? Or are you kind of intrigued by the idea of asymmetry, where something is happening on one side and something different is happening here, and they're not the same, but they visually balance each other? So it's okay to do either one. The other thing to consider is the design. Do you want it just in the center? That's fine if it's just in the center. You want the design just on the edge so it doesn't mess with your food when your food is on that plate? That's fine. Or do you want that design to be all over the entire thing? Once you learn how to do this process and make the little stamps on there, it's this really hypnotic, kind of mesmerizing process. And it takes some time. It's not quick, but it can become this really hypnotic, really satisfying thing. So if you want to cover the whole surface, that would be great. We are primarily just going to do the design on this front side, the side we'll access today. Tomorrow, you're going to flip the plate off the mold, or if you're on the wheel, you'll be trimming tomorrow probably. But then the design is really only going to be on the front. On the back side, you could do a design if you wanted to. The back side is primarily just going to get a foot. That's what I'm going to ask of you. If you want to do one more on the back side, you certainly can. Okay, so just a few reminders. Here's a pot that or a plate that has a design just in the center and kind of radiates out like a radial design, I guess is what that's called. Here's a design that's just around the lip on that sauce rim of the plate. That's perfectly fine. Here we have some asymmetrical designs, and I kind of copied the cherry blossom one for this plate right here. People at home, I don't know if you can see that. So my cherry blossoms were made by stamping my popsicle stick in a circle to make it look like petals of a flower. And then I drew in the branches. So it is okay to draw portions of your design, but you also must use your stamps in your design. So I kind of modeled this after that. And then finally, an all over design. If you want to kind of just like feel it out as you go and just start kind of digging in and stamping into it, you can create a design. It doesn't really have a structure per se. It just repeats across that entire surface. So that's a fine idea too. Now I mentioned an Irish artist, Mari Stone. We're going to look at several time-lapse videos of her work. And she pairs them with music. She's very savvy at marketing her work. I got to say, she's a talented artist and a talented marketer of her work. So we're going to look at her creating some designs that might be similar to what you want to create. She uses some different sorts of tools, and you also will be able to use other sorts of tools other than the ones that you create with your popsicle sticks, although the popsicle stick should be the primary tool that you use. But there are other things that you can utilize, and I'll get to that in the demo. So that big circle design could be made with the eraser of a pencil. Now she's just using a toothpick. I have toothpicks you can use if you want. But she's leaning the toothpick, and that's how she's getting that elongated mark. Okay, so that probably, I don't know how long that might have taken her, maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, I don't really know. The point is, it takes time to do this well. I mean, obviously this is time lapsed, but it can be this really satisfying experience of making those repetitive little marks. So I think you'll hopefully enjoy that aspect of it. Here's another one of hers. So she does make her own homemade stamps. So that was a homemade stamp that she made. And she's just using a dull pencil. So that's something you can use, a dull pencil. Now she's using the same pencil, but leaning it out a little bit so you get a longer mark. So you don't have to stamp every square inch. Obviously, you can leave some areas blank. That's called the negative space. The design is the positive space. The blank area is negative space. So that's something to consider. Leaving certain areas blank to give your eye a little bit of a rest. The OCD in me is like really upset about the fact that that stamp isn't exactly in the middle. So when you do your plate, if you want your design to be centered in the middle, use a ruler, find the middle. Here's another one. This one, so the last two were kind of centered designs. This one follows more of a linear path. It goes across the tile. So she actually draws the design on first, so it kind of maps out her plan. And then she does her stamping around that mapped out set of lines. So this is a good example of asymmetry. She did one pattern on one side of the lines, and then she's doing the dots on the other side of the lines. So it's different on both sides, but it's visually balanced. And the nice thing about these different techniques that we're going to be doing, it doesn't have to look like anything. Like you're not trying to copy, a puppy, or you're not trying to copy something that has to look like anything else. It's a pure pattern. So there's some freedom in that. Like there's so many correct answers that you could do when you're adding your design. Okay, I think this is the last video I'm going to show you. So this would be an all over pattern. So she's stamping, again, this is a homemade stamp that she's made. And then she's just filling in the gaps between that design. All right, and let's see. There we go. Okay, so the tools that I'm going to encourage that you use, the homemade stamps, which I'm going to, again, show you how to make in just a moment, they have to be the majority of your design. I actually want you to use the stamps that you've made, the popsicle stick stamps. That has to be a majority of what you're using. However, you can also use a dull pencil. A dull pencil will make like a more pronounced mark than a sharp pencil, so that's why I say a dull pencil. A pen with the writing part retracted, so a pen like this, where you can retract the part that actually writes, so you're just getting this little circle with the non-writing part of the tip of the pen. That makes a really nice, crisp circle shape. A toothpick, maybe other items that people at home, maybe you find stuff around the home that you want to use to stamp into the clay. People who are here, there are other tools that you can use. Maybe the needle tool or ribbon tool or other sorts of things you find around the room to stamp. But remember, your homemade tools do need to be the primary part of the design. Like in the cherry blossom plate that I showed, I drew in the branches, so that wasn't stamped, but the flowers were stamped. Okay, so the flowers are the primary part of that design. So again, I'm gonna put this up here for now. And actually, I'm gonna come back to that in a little bit. So people who are at home, this is one of the slides that you can pause on with this video because I'm recording this. And then these are your second steps. I'm gonna go over both sets of steps in the demo today, but I want this to be on the video so you can pause it if you want to access those steps. Okay, so here is where I'm going to freeze it. I'm going to have you guys gather around table 6 for the demo. Ava, before you come over, could you turn on the lights, please? Again, people who are at home, please stay till the end of the demo because I have important information that I need to share with you. Okay, so I'm going to turn this on. Open it and is to make your tools. All popsicle sticks and your popsicle sticks. And also over here are scissors. So you're going to start making your designs by cutting them with the scissors. People at home, hopefully you have a scissors at your house. And it takes a pretty powerful scissors, like a kitty scissors. I have some kitty scissors in here, but I'm not even gonna put them out because they won't do a good job. So the scissors that I have over there, there's maybe like 8 of them. So we are gonna have to share them. So when you're done using a scissors, please clean it and then put it back in the bucket. And by clean it, I mean just use like hand soap and put on it. I suppose we could also use the Purell. We could spray them with Purell too. I'll put that spray bottle out. Okay. So to make my tools, really all I have to do is think up 6 different designs. So there do have to be 6 designs, 1 on one side, 1 on the other. So that's how you get 3 popsicle sticks, but 6 designs. And I'll be nice to you. I'll allow one of your designs to just be the rounded edge of the popsicle stick. So you can keep one as is, because that actually makes a pretty cool design. But on all the other ones, I want you to be creative and cut. And then once you've cut in different patterns, I want you to sand. So these discs, people at home, you have one of these in your Ziploc baggie. People who are here, there's a box full of those also over by the popsicle sticks. So just put that sandpaper on your table and just sand your tool. So there's not going to be any rough, raggedy, sharp bits of wood there. So there's one design, kind of looks like a picket fence. I could do another variation of the design. Actually, I'm going to take this round end here, and I'm going to add a variation by bending my my sandpaper. So it's going to sand on kind of 2 sides, and then I'm going to push the popsicle stick back and forth on that edge so that I get a little notch sanded into, hard to see because it's just happening little bits at a time. But I'm sanding a little notch into my popsicle stick. So it's up to you to be as creative as you possibly can. I'm just going to show you some of the ones that kids have made and then just turned in the past. So not that you can really see these very well from far away. Here's one that's basically like this picket fence, and then they just sanded a notch in that picket fence. That's actually the one that I used for the cherry blossoms. So there's one with a kind of a square tip. There's one that looks like the end of an arrow. So lots of different things that you could do. It's kind of up to your creativity to figure out what you want to do. Let me keep a few of these out. So this one and this one, keep those out. Okay, so what I would like you to do once you have all your edges sanded is, I gotta do this yet, grab some scrap clay. And it doesn't need to be very much, especially for the people at home who don't want to use up too much of the clay. People who are here, you have access to unlimited clay, and so you can grab like the size of a, whatever this is, size of an apple, we'll say. And then just flatten it out. Okay, so people at home, It's just about the size of my palm, just a small amount of clay. And the reason I want you to have this is I want you to try out your designs, like see what the designs look like. People who are sitting over there, 1, 2, and 3, come out closer. This is like fine tuning stuff. I want you to be able to see this. Sorry, I didn't realize that you weren't closer. Get over here. I was so intent on my demo. I wasn't paying attention to my students. Terrible teacher. Okay, so I want you to try this out by taking the tool, and this is going to be hard for me to hang on to. I got to put it down, and just do some repetitive stamping. What would it look like if you stamped one direction and then stamped the other direction and then go back the first direction? And just by tipping it just a little bit, you just get a nice pattern. If you pinwheel the designs, if I stamp them in a circle shape, I get a whole different sort of a pattern. Okay, so there's the circle stamp. So I want you to try out all your different patterns that you've come up with. Hi. No, she doesn't have a first hour. Okay. So let me try and replicate the, I don't know if I can replicate the cherry blossom. I don't know if I have the right stamp in front of me. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I did another stamp on the end of those first original stamps. So it really looks like a flower. Okay. And so I talked about using a pen. So if you have a pen that has a retractable end on it, that can give you a really nice circle. It just kind of makes a circle with a little nub in the center. So I did that right in the middle of my flower. If I just use the rounded tip of the popsicle stick without having added any design to it, it makes a rounded pattern. If I use the popsicle stick in a different way by stamping straight downward, it gives me a different sort of a pattern. So there's a lot of different ways that you can experiment with this and play with this and do some different things. People at home, you have toothpicks. Folks who are here, there's a bucket of toothpicks next to the slab roller. So just kind of play around with different designs, see what you like. Here, this was a plate that has dandelions on it, like those poofy dandelions that you could blow away. And those were made by one of these stamps that has a lot of little notches cut in it. So dandelion plate. This plate, I'm going to be honest, this kid probably didn't meet the requirements of the assignment. It's a really nice design, but I'm pretty sure that they did not use their homemade stamp. It looks like they used the end of an eraser and stamped those little circles on there, which looks nice, but they also would have lost points on having not used their actual handmade stamps. So this is a good example of an all-over design. And then here's that cherry blossom design that I was mentioning earlier, but probably wasn't very visible in the dark. So this was hand-drawn first, and then the cherry blossoms put on it. So that's something you can do today if you have your plate made, because I'm guessing most of you made your plates yesterday, except the people on the wheel. People on the wheel, you're kind of on a different pace for this. So I'm going to talk to the wheelers in a little bit. So I have my plate that I made yesterday. It is leather hard. When I press on it, if I pressed hard enough, it would make a mark. So that's good because I want to make marks today. It's not sticky, so that's good. So if you open up your plate today and it feels really sticky, just take a hairdryer to it for a little bit. People at home, put it out in the sun for like 10 minutes, and that should help it get to the leather hard stage. I do want you to do some sketches. So up on the screen, or people who are at home, the previous slide that I showed in the video, just kind of lay out some different patterns. So I have the asymmetrical pattern, I have the symmetrical pattern, I have the cherry blossom pattern. I think I'm going to go with something symmetrical because I haven't done that before. So to find the exact middle, I'm going to take a ruler. So this is 7 inches across. So that would mean 3.5 inches is the center. So I'm going to measure it this way, make a mark. I'm going to measure it this way. And okay, so that way it's a little bit longer. We'll measure it this way, 3.5. So I think right about here is my center. And then I can take a toothpick or really any sort of tool and kind of lay out lightly where my design is going to go. So since the plate that I'm using is a hexagon, I'm just going to draw some really light lines as though it is kind of like slices of pie or pizza. And those really light lines are going to help me lay out my pattern in a way that will help me make it more balanced. So I suggested everybody take a scrap of towel today. You're gonna have your plate be on that towel as you're stamping, because it just pivots better if it's on that nice smooth surface, because as you're stamping, you might want to be able to pivot it really easily. So I'm gonna take one of my tools here, and I'm just gonna start stamping a repeated design. And it's kind of pyramiding out. So the first row was only 1 stamp. The next row was 2 stamps. The next row is 3 stamps. I'm using a really flimsy plate. So this is the other reason why having a towel underneath will kind of help cushion it as you're doing your stamping. So I'm just continuing to stamp out from that point. I'm trying, for the purposes of this demo, I'm trying to rush a little bit so you guys aren't having to watch this whole time. I would probably encourage you to work a little bit more slowly than I am right now. So I'm just repeating this whole thing, and I'll probably go all the way up the sauce rim. And maybe I'll do that same texture here and that same texture here. And then in the other spots in between, maybe I'll come up with a whole different texture. So there's an alternating texture in each slice of pie on my design. So your goal for today should be to try and get your tools made, your sketches done, at least 3 sketches, mapping out your design, 3 different ideas. And then just start adding your stamps, okay? And remember, you can use other things other than your handmade stamps, but these do need to be primarily your design. And then for your photo today, it doesn't say it on this screen, it'll say it on the next screen, which I'll advance to in a little bit. Your photo for today is a photo of your 3 tools, plus your sketches, plus your beginning stamp plate, all right? And for people who are on the wheel, you might not get to the point where you're stamping today, in which case you can just take a picture of your handmade tools and your sketches, okay? And then you can start your stamping tomorrow, wheel people. How many people, just remind me, how many people plan to or want to try and make the plate on the wheel again today? Okay, awesome. So what I'm gonna encourage, because I have to meet with online people here, I'm gonna encourage you guys to start by making your tools now while you're waiting for me. And then I'm gonna call all the wheelers over and do a quick refresher on how to trim a foot on the wheel for those who wanna do the wheel. And I'm doing that because I'm actually not going to be here tomorrow. So I want to give you the information you need today. There'll be a substitute teacher here tomorrow, and she'll be able to help you, but I want to demo today. All right, people who are here in person, what questions do you have about what you're doing today? Okay, awesome. Get to work. People who are at home, stay on the line. I'm going to put out my bottle of Purell. So if anybody wants to spray down the scissors, such funny things we have to do these days. Purell is right up here. Ooh, attendance would be nice. All right. Hi, people at home. Hello. Okay, so the reason it was really important for me to have you guys stay till the very end is because I do want to let you know about a weird thing that's happening tomorrow. I am actually not going to be at school tomorrow. I have to stay at home to wait for a repair person to come to our house. And so there will not be a Google Meet tomorrow. Okay, so Thursday, there will not be a Google Meet. I will not be holding one. The substitute teacher will not be holding one. And so I'm going to record a video and post it to the Thursday folder on Schoology. And like I usually do, I usually post a video there, but most of you guys probably don't watch the video because you've come to the Google Meet. But tomorrow there will be no Google Meet, so watch that video. That will give you the instruction on adding a foot to the bottom of your plate, and then do it and submit your photo, and that'll be how you get your demo tomorrow. It won't be live, it'll be a video. Does that make sense for everybody? Anybody got any questions about tomorrow? Okay, if you think up a question, hang around. I'm taking attendance right now, so don't leave. Okay, so we have Kip here. We have Rachel Turner here. We have Isabel Werdeman here. We have Ariana here. We have Isaac Fearing here. We have Sam Nelson here. We have Aaliyah Rodriguez here. Vernon Lilly is here. And Nora Zimmerman. Okay, so no Google Meet tomorrow, but on Friday, there will be a Google Meet because there's MCA science testing on Friday, but that affects such a small portion of my classes that I'm still going to have class as normal on Flex Friday. So that means Google Meet on Friday at 9 a.m. That's when first hour starts on Flex Friday. So use WHS Ceramics, same code you always do. You will have a video and an assignment and a Google Meet on Friday that will not take you all that long. Okay, what questions do you have now?
What time does the Google Meet on Friday start?
9 a.m.
Okay.
Yep. All right. If you guys don't have any questions, you can sign off for today. Thank you so much for being here. Have fun making your tools and your plates. If you do have a question, stick around and we can talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?